I was on board for this from the get-go.
We could not wait to talk to you about Train Dreams, an absolutely gorgeous film that's in theaters right now in limited release, and it'll be on Netflix on November 21st. But if you can see this in a theater, you absolutely should, because it is breathtakingly beautiful. So come subscribe, come hang out. This is very much our kind of movie. So if it's yours as well, come hang out with us. Alonso, what happens in Train Dreams?
This is rough work, gentlemen. Not just on the body. We just cut down trees that have been here for 500 years.
To be fair, Netflix nagged us a lot about seeing it on the big screen, and I'm really glad they did, because, yeah, this movie is gorgeous. It's from director Clint Bentley, who directed Jockey and was one of the writers on Sing Sing, and it stars Joel Edgerton as a guy in the, turn of the 20th century who is a logger, and sort of travels for work, chopping down trees as, the Western expansion is taking place. And along the way meets and falls in love with, a local lady at church, played by Felicity Jones. And they begin to build a life together. They have a child. They build a cabin by the river. Big life events take place that change his life forever. He continues to go off on jobs where he encounters people like William H. Macy as an old timer who's full of stories. He witnesses the murder of a Chinese railroad worker and is literally haunted by that man for the rest of his life. And yeah, we sort of just see the character get older and come to sort of adjust with the world around him as the world around him begins changing in a very rapid way. It ends, in the 20s, I guess, right?
No, it ends in the 60s.
Does it get that far?
The 1960s.
Wow. Okay. Well,
yes.
I mean, a lot of the movie is set like in the years after World War I. You're right. Yes, we do get that far with him.
Yeah, there are things that happen in the 60s that we see.
Right. Yes. No. Now, okay. But they're the 60s, but like in sort of rural Washington, so they seem like they're earlier. Anyway. Oh, right. Yes, of course. A major thing happens that is definitely the 1960s. So, duh. Anyway, I've seen so many movies in the last 3 weeks, you guys. It's insane.
It's a blur.
I was on board for this from the get-go, and I'm not the biggest fan of either Joel Edgerton or Felicity Jones, but damn if this movie didn't completely just like capture me in its spell, want me to follow these characters wherever they went. And it's so quiet and so understated and yet so meaningful and beautiful. This is a beautifully humane portrait of a life that is not like gonna be listed in the history books of anyone or anything. It's somebody who he was an orphan. He did a lot of manual labor in like work camps. He started a family, and it's all very quiet and it's all very small, but it's all so powerful.
Incredible visual poetry here. This is a gorgeous film. From the very first few frames, it is going to grab you. I love the way this is shot. There's just a richness to the color, whether it's the green of the trees or the blue of the sky. And just there's a bit of a Malick feel to it in terms of just the heightened sense of the powers of nature. Yeah. And that sounds really highfalutin as the words leave my mouth, but like
the beauty and the horror.
Totally. And just appreciating how everything is intertwined, and then our role in it as human beings. And Joel Edgerton is so good here because he has to play an inherently stoic person.
Yeah.
But then allow just enough glimmers of wonder or despair or introspection or whatever is happening for us to connect with him on this journey. There are some dream elements and some time hop elements that I think work a lot more effectively here than they did in Die My Love, which we talked about last week, in terms of trying to indicate his inner state. Sure. And those are really heightened in a way too that can be terrifying and heartbreaking. And also, his story is the story of America as, we are settling further west, and the simplicity of that and the hope of that. And that seems very quaint at this moment in time. But all those basics, you know, a home and family and meaningful work and being connected to your community. This film celebrates all of that and explores all of that in ways that are gorgeous and understated. I like Felicity Jones here so much because she could have just been the wife. You know, the wife waiting at home for him while he goes on these logging trips and takes care of their little girl. And there's so much more to her from the very first second you see her. She's resourceful. She's quick-witted. She's really smart. She's really funny. And they're a great pair. And she draws him out, you know, because he's so quiet, as you say. And then Kerry Condon shows up later on too. And she's also somebody who is resourceful and smart and has seen things. And her role is not necessarily what you might expect from the first time you see her. And I love the daring of that. I love the score. It's from Bryce Dessner of The National. I am not a fan of The National, but I love this music and it fits this setting so well because there's almost like a playful kind of like piano motif throughout it that almost mirrors like water going down a stream. You know, it puts you right in the middle of the natural surroundings.
There's a lot of great faces in this movie too. You know, like there's a cameo early on from Clifton Collins Jr. and you get William H. Macy, but later you get like Paul Schneider and you know, like so just a lot of different people were like, oh yeah, it's a not just sort of a parade of that guys, but just people who make an impact in a very short appearance on screen, and you know, you remember them and you carry them through the film. But yeah, this really is all about the interiority of Joel Edgerton and what he builds for this character, and it's, I think, some of his best work.
Yeah. Did we review Jockey?
Surely we did. I mean, I know I saw it. I know I saw it for Spirit Awards. I really loved it, and Clifton Collins Jr. is so great in that movie. He's in this very briefly.
Also, I want to talk about the narration really fast.
Okay.
Because, you know, also recently we talked about sentimental value and how the narration in that really puts you in the mindset of what this house is like, what this family is like. There is quite a bit of narration here as well from Will Patton, but it is not necessarily overly explaining things. There's a great poetry and a great rhythm to what he is saying that sort of adds to the atmosphere. You know, I feel like the narration can be a crutch when it's telling you what you're seeing for yourself on screen, and this is not doing that. This complements what we're seeing. Yeah,
this is based on a novella by Denis Johnson, who also wrote the source material for Jesus' Son. And yeah, you're right. It is spare and beautiful. Like, this is really well done narration. There were times watching this where I thought about Kelly Reichardt in terms of the way that she will shoot characters in nature and the way that she will unfold relationships in a way that's very sort of naturalistic and subtle and quiet. But yeah, this is sort of its own thing, and it's really well done. And I think a movie that not a lot of people are talking about yet. And so I'm glad that we have the opportunity to like sort of alert people, hey, this movie exists. See it in theaters if you can. If you can't, at least catch it on Netflix. It's really great.
Yeah, this might end up in my top 10 list.
It might.
Actually, yeah. So like, I'm going to say a 9.5.
Yeah, I'm a 9. Yeah, it's great.
Cool. Train Dreams. Go see it in a theater if you can. And if not, it's going to be on Netflix on November 21st. Enjoy.